Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Sharing Wisdom. I'm your host, Angie Wisdom, and today we're talking about why the game of hustle and grind is no longer working. I mean, maybe you felt this. You're putting out more effort and energy. Maybe you're still leaning into the hustle, the grind, and you're working harder than ever, and it's not producing the results that it used to. Maybe it's not producing any results at all. And you feel like you're capable and you're trying really hard, but like you get in this spot where you're like, what is wrong with me? Why isn't this working? You're exhausted. Maybe you've got this fatigue showing up, this lack of motivation, this indecision, this procrastination, symptoms that you really haven't experienced before. And again, has you asking like, what's going on? What's changed? Do I not have my spark, my passion, my fire anymore? Like, what is so different? And even businesses and leaders are noticing this within their teams. They're realizing that like something isn't working like it used to. And much of that is because our environment has changed. I mean, think about it. Think about where we are now, like mentally, what has access to you and what do you have access to? We're in this era where it's like speed, accessibility, the constant demand on our brains, on our capacity are going 24/7. Like never before have we had so much access to information. You can get on social media, you can get on YouTube and learn, you can get on AI. I mean, you can plug into anything you want 24/7. You can learn, you can worry, you can fear, you can ideate, you can create. I mean, you can just have your brain plugged into something all the time. And on the flip side, it's like the door to you is open all the time. Maybe you sleep and you don't have your messages come through, your phone rings, so you've got that window that's protected. Unless you're the one who actually wakes up in the middle of the night worrying and thinking about the things you forgot and maybe what you could do tomorrow. But other than that, a little bit of downtime when you're sleeping, soundly sleeping, there's access to you 24/7, right? People are sending you text messages. Maybe they come through or maybe you've got them silent. People are messaging you on social media platforms or LinkedIn. They're sending you emails. They're sending you calendar invites. They're calling. So we've got this two-way system where you can plug into anything you want at any time. People can send you stuff and plug into you at any time. We've got so much information exchanging from one thing to the other. And then on top of that, we're being asked to perform at levels that we've never been performing at before, right? Demands are high on people. We've got technology that is shaking up the world going, oh my gosh, if you don't evolve, you're going to be like, out of work from AI. So performance metrics are changing. Expectations are higher. So we've got more thinking and more analyzing and decisions than we've ever had before because of all of this. So the reason I share this with you is because I want to highlight that the environment that you're working in, the environment that you're performing in is like one that we've never been in. And quite honestly, our brains were not designed and developed to operate in this environment. We weren't made like a human computer that can just upgrade RAM and memory and storage. Our nervous system wasn't designed to have information constantly coming in or going out. All of this is creating a bandwidth issue. It's all creating a drag on our capacity and our cognitive abilities. And the interesting thing is all that we used to do that used to work is now making things worse. So if you think about it, before we had so much coming in and so much going out of our brains, we had more space, we had more capacity. So if you wanted to work longer hours, if you wanted to pull an all-nighter, if you wanted to layer something else, multitask, any of that grind mentality, that work harder, push more, there was space for it. So when you did it, it really was like extra fuel on the fire. It could create some traction for you and some leverage and produce something for you. It worked when the environment had more space, when there was less coming in and out of us all the time. But now we're in a place that because there's so limited space and capacity, that when we go back to those old ways, when we go back to the hustle, the grind, the push, the pull an all-nighter, the sacrifice ourselves, It's actually not creating the traction, the leverage that we used to have. It's creating more strain and it's breaking the system. So you see, that's why if you're in this position of going, well, I used to do this. I used to be able to hustle and grind, but it's not working. It's actually exhausting. Maybe I'm getting old. Maybe I've lost my spark. No, not at all. You just have a different capacity and more constraints on it. And that's creating these symptoms of going, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? And what happens is when capacity is depleted, your system goes into running on reserves. It's no longer just going to like fire away and get things done. It's going to start to protect itself. It's going to literally take a step back and go, hey, too much is going on here. You're asking too much of me. So we're going to go into survival mode. And anything from motivation, goal acceleration, all of that is going to get pushed to the side because that is not a priority for your brain. It's not a priority. It's going to go, how do we reserve? How do we kind of like downshift a little bit? And it's going to go to the easiest things. And so all of a sudden you might pick up your phone and scroll on social media because that's pretty easy, right? It's mindless. It just allows your brain to just kind of like, not that it's good, but it allows you to just kind of do something without putting too much bandwidth into it. You could mindlessly scroll and not know what you looked at for 20 or 30 minutes. So if you think about that, all your resources are going to these low level things. It's why? Because it's the only thing that you have capacity for. Your brain's looking for like the path of least resistance. Like, well, what can we do? I've got 10% capacity left. You're asking me to plan a whole project, but I've only got 10% capacity left. So what your brain is going to say is, you know what? Take that project. We're going to put it over here for right now. We don't have any room for that. That is really overwhelming me and freaking me out. And pick up your phone and start scrolling. Or, you know what? Find something to eat. Or, you know what? Catch up with somebody who you haven't talked to in a long time. It's going to look for something that can fit in that 10%. Hopefully that's making sense for you. But what's really important about that is what do you do with that information? Because many people are going, oh, what is wrong with me? Kind of like I said earlier, many people are going, man, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't have any discipline anymore. I used to be so disciplined. I'm not motivated anymore. Man, where's my drive? Where's my structure? Where's my commitment? And they start beating up on themselves because these symptoms are showing up. And if then you try to fix this symptom, now we're chasing the wrong thing. And you got people Googling or ChatGPTing like, how do I get more disciplined? How do I fix my focus? How do I find my motivation? And now we're going down a totally different rabbit hole when that's really just a symptom of a problem, which is a lack of capacity. I mean, think about this from a space perspective. If you want to create something, if you want to do something, you have to have room for it. It's impossible if you've got maxed out capacity because you're thinking about the plan that you already have in place and relationships and decisions and worries and fears. And it's like your brain is maxed out. It's 97% maxed out. And then you're like, oh, let's come up with a new idea to raise business. Let's come up with a killer proposal for your client. There's no room for it. There's no space for it. And so what we're faced with now in this time, in this kind of environment is we must create space in order to expand. So in the past, where it was a game of addition, work harder, do more, add this element, addition worked because we had the space. But now in a time where we don't have the extra space, the new game is subtraction. Subtraction is the new addition. We have to start going, what do we take off? What do we take out of our bandwidth and our capacity so that we then have room to create what we truly want or to focus on what's really most important? And I mean, it makes sense, right? Like our brain is not an infinite amount of resources and space and cognitive ability. So if we max out, we have to start pulling things off. And so I want to kind of give you some context around that as far as like, when you think about capacity, how does that show up for you and what drains your capacity and understanding what those symptoms are? Because if we can start to put a name to it and you can start to identify it, then you've got this awareness and you can catch it when it's happening. And when we have the awareness, then we have the option to do something about it. That's the empowering piece. But without it, we just keep running in the same circle, expecting a different result, beating ourselves up with the same type of thought pattern. So I want to give you four places of capacity leakage for you. Okay, the first one is mental. The mental capacity you have that gets expanded on just overthinking, overanalyzing, creating, like it's just like your brain is going all the time. It doesn't ever get quiet because it's always churning and ruminating and thinking. That can be draining on your mental capacity. Another element is the emotional capacity that you have. So that's where it pops in around feelings, fear, jealousy, anger, worry. Like anytime you find yourself in a place of going like, how am I going to do this? What happens if this deal doesn't come through? I can't believe she did that. I'm so worried that I'm not going to be able to grow my business the way I want to. All of those emotions come into that emotional capacity level. So maybe you're giving a lot of your capacity to the emotional aspect. And another piece is the physical, right? That makes sense. Like, how do you eat? How do you sleep? How do you move your body? We definitely have a physical capacity as well. And if you're grinding away all day and you miss your meals, that takes a toll on your physical capacity. If you haven't had a sip of water all day long and you're running on caffeine, physical capacity. Haven't moved your body because you've said you've got too much work to do and you'll get back to the gym in a couple weeks when you get through this big project, drain on your physical capacity. So that plays a toll in this as well, or a place in this as well. And then the last place is from your nervous system, like that fight or flight, the cortisol levels, the always on the go. So I'm talking to you, the ones that are like, I can't sit still. I have to be doing something. I love multitasking. Like when you are always going, you keep your nervous system at a jacked up level, right? It's like fight or flight, go, just keep turning the wheel, just keep moving. And that never gives us the space to kind of like relax, to reset, to find calm, to find peace. And so that's also a capacity drain. So if you think about it from that perspective, there's 4 buckets. And you can think about your entire day. You can move through your days catching, where am I using capacity? Am I overthinking? Am I overanalyzing? Am I constantly plugged in from a mental standpoint? Am I emotionally plugged in too much? The fears, the worries, the anger, like the emotional piece of it? Or am I physically depleting my capacity? Or is that nervous system never getting a break? And maybe even as I share this with you right now, you could probably pinpoint, you're like, I know where it is. That the meals I skip all the time, or the constant worry and self-doubt. Maybe that's what's draining the capacity. But you have to have that awareness to know that this is what is taking my capacity, because that gives us a space to go, how do we start to clear it? And before we talk about clearing it, I want you to recognize that what symptoms come up, I briefly mentioned earlier, when your capacity is maxed out, you're going to notice a few core things. Decisions are going to feel hard and heavy. Even the simplest decision, it could be a decision for dinner. It could be a decision on where you're going to go on vacation, or whether you're saying yes to a party this weekend, or, whether or not to, bring somebody on your team. It could be big or small, but the decision is going to feel heavy, and you kind of let it go. You push it off. I'll make that decision tomorrow. I'll ask somebody else about it. I'll get everyone else's opinion. Like the decision feels too big for you to make. So that decision fatigue, the decision procrastination, that's real, because your brain is basically saying like, shoot, I don't have enough space to make that decision right now. So like, can we just deal with that later? Another one is that procrastination. So maybe you have something to do and it's like, tomorrow's a better day. I said I would get that workout done tomorrow. I said I would get that proposal done tomorrow. I'd say, I told a client I'd get a CMA to them. I'll do that tomorrow. And it's not your typical course of action. Now, if you tell me you've procrastinated your whole life, that's a different situation. But if this is new to you and you're going, I have a client say, like, I don't know why I'm not doing what I said I would do. Like, I told this client I would get them a proposal. This is really important. This is business that I could bring in. Why in the world am I not getting that proposal done? So it's these moments where it's like, this is kind of crazy. How come I can't make this decision? How come I'm not doing this work? That is really mind-blowing for you. That's a sign that your capacity is maxed out. And then the avoidance piece, like maybe just completely avoiding, you're like, I'm not going to have that conversation. I'm not even going to think about this thing. Like my finances are way too overwhelming. I'm just going to avoid them altogether. This conflict with somebody, I'm just going to avoid that altogether. Where we start stacking up all those things that we're avoiding, you may not be tending to them, but the avoidance is taking up capacity for you. So it's a real thing. Even if you're not thinking about it, it's definitely plugged into your capacity. And then that last one is this lack of motivation, which is what I get a lot from people. They don't understand. They feel like it's an age thing. Oh, I've been in the business too long. I've lost my passion. Too much has just changed. And it's kind of like changed my mind about the business. Could be very, very, very small percentage chance that it is. Much more likely that your motivation is missing right now because you're just maxed out from a capacity standpoint. Your brain is like, get motivated. What do you mean? I'm just trying to survive here. And what I want you to take from that is that when you're experiencing those, it's so important that you don't take them on as an identity and a flaw. Like, oh, I'm such a procrastinator. Oh my God, I avoid things all the time. Like, I don't know why I just can't get things done. If we take them on as an identity and a character flaw, then unfortunately, we're going to start living into that more and more and more. So we want to make sure we realize, oh, these are just signals. This is our brain throwing us smoke signs, right? Throwing us symptoms going like, hey, you might want to check into this. This may not be the problem, but here's a symptom that you're maxed out. So we got to treat them from a symptomatic standpoint so that we know what to do with them. So if you're tracking with me so far, right, we've got this understanding that we're in a new environment that has more capacity constraints on us than ever before. It gives us this awareness that some of these symptoms that are coming up that we're experiencing are not character flaws. They're not judgments on us. They're actually signals and signs that something isn't working the same way that it is. And it's this new environment that's causing us to really have to rethink things and do things differently. You understand like what is causing the capacity drain, right? With those 4 concepts. And now we can come to this place of like, okay, if I get all that, if I understand we're in a different environment, I understand what's dragging my capacity down, I understand the symptoms of it, how do I fix it? And it starts with this process of clearing it out, making space. If you were standing in a room and it was completely overfilled with junk, you know, imagine like you're standing in a bedroom and it's somebody who is a hoarder, right? And there's just junk everywhere. You can't start pulling stuff in and adding to it. Absolutely not. You have to start taking things out in order to see space, in order to move things around. So that's what we're doing with your bandwidth right now, with your capacities going, okay, how do we start to declutter? And the first thing is understanding that the tiredness, the exhaustion that you're feeling with this is not a judgment, it's awareness. And the most important thing I want you to hear in this is that it is not a sign to take away the things that mean something to you, the things that fuel you. When I'm talking about subtraction here, I don't want you to take away like, well, let me cut those workouts out. Let me cut that alone time. Let me cut my reading time out. Like the things that bring you joy, the things that fill you up, the things that you've heard me declare as values, those are capacity creators. So that's very important to note here that when you get into this game of subtraction, yes, that may take time off of your schedule, but from a capacity standpoint, they create expansion for you. So don't go removing the things that actually bring you joy, that fill you up, because those are space cleaners. And we want to keep those in that environment so that it can help us create more capacity. So first things first, don't get rid of the things that matter to you. Keep them there. And if you don't have them in there, start adding them in. I'm okay with add that walk in, add that alone time in, add that time in nature, and whatever it is that fills you up is going to help with the capacity and that lack of motivation. And then the second piece, when we start to go, well, what are we taking out of the room? What are we clearing out? Just start going through your head and going, well, is there anything that I could just pause right now? Is there anything that I could pause and not be involved in? Is there anything that I could delegate completely? Or is there anything that I could actually just delete altogether? I promise you, there are things in there that you can throw out. And again, if we go back to this analogy of like junking out a room, there are going to be things that you're like, yeah, I've had this for a long time and, I like it, but is it really that important? Nah, great. Delete it. Get rid of it. Trash it. This is your responsibility right now. And what you get to do is start to clean out that room, make some capacity. So as you're going through this and you're like, okay, well, what can I delete? What can I delegate? What can I give away to somebody else? Right? What can I just maybe put over here to look at later? We're going through this mentally and cycling it out. I love to write this stuff down. I love, love, love to write it down. It's so much easier for me to see the stuff in my room. So I would take out a pen, a piece of paper, and I would start going, okay, what's taking up capacity? And you can go back to those 4 buckets: emotional, mental, physical, and from a nervous system perspective. When you look at those, which ones are draining you, what's taking up capacity that we can delete, delegate, or just pause for right now. Going through that, I promise you're going to find at least a couple of things, if not more, that you can just process and go, okay, that's no longer allowed. This is going to go to this person. I don't even need to deal with this right now. You're going to start to feel the spaciousness, and that's going to be energizing to you. And that's what we're looking for. This is not an overnight thing. It's not one clean out. It's going to take you some time. But as you create space, you're going to get more clarity. Decisions are going to come faster. You're going to stop avoiding things. You're going to stop procrastinating. And those are the signs that we're looking for. And you're like, oh, finally, I'm back to making those quick decisions. I'm back to taking action on the things that I said I would. That's the turnaround symptoms that we're looking for here. And they'll be quiet. Like all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, wow, that was easy. And that's your confirmation that you're doing a good job clearing that capacity. And then the one thing I want you to think about too is like, what do you need to protect? When you think about your capacity, and this is kind of the first thing I talked about, like, what is that value of yours? Is it the time alone? Is it the learning? Is it, the time in nature, the physical activity? Maybe it's your sleep, maybe it's your hydration, but think about something that really adds to your capacity. That really means a lot. And we want to protect that. We really want to anchor that in because it's amazing how that can create space and expansion for us if, again, we protect it. So those 3 things: don't get rid of the things that matter most. Add in what you need to as far as a value perspective. Start junking out that room, your capacity, and what needs to stay, what needs to be delegated, deleted, or just dealt with later. And then pick that one non-negotiable that will be a capacity creator for you. Whether that, like I said, is your sleep, your hydration, physical activity, time with a loved one. Keep that one non-negotiable. And if you lean into that, I promise you are going to come back and you're going to say, oh my gosh, thank you so much for that space. Now what felt heavy is feeling lighter. And I now feel like I have the space to create what I want. So as you're kind of thinking on this and you're getting ready to take action and move forward, let these couple of concepts resonate with you and take them with you. Capacity isn't about doing less forever. I'm not asking you to switch your life and just to have this life of spaciousness and ease, and you're never going to like put your foot on the gas and go anymore. Not at all. I just want you to recalibrate. I want you to find the space to do it intentionally. And it's not about just creating space for the sake of space. It's about creating space for what matters most. And that could be the values. It could be your zone of genius, your impact zone, your highest and best use of time. It's about creating space so that those things that matter, we start to zone in on. and we can put the time and attention and the focus direction that it deserves. But your impact, which you know me, I'm always kind of pushing you and guiding you to create impact, because that's really where we flow. It's really where force goes out the door and we stand in our power. Impact requires space. It requires room. So if you want to be more impactful, if you want to live into what you truly, truly want, that's going to require some space. So just give yourself some grace right now and know that if you create the space, your capacity will expand. And when your capacity expands, your focus starts to multiply. You're able to see what you really want to see and what matters most. And with that multiplication becomes your impact. It's a process. Like I said, it's not an overnight thing. But if you walk away with one piece today, just know that you are not broken. The environment has changed. And so it's going to require a little bit different work from you. And it starts with clearing capacity so that you have the space to allow what's most important to show up at the highest level. So I hope you're taking away at least one nugget and you can lean into creating some space for yourself in 2026. I'm declaring it. I've said it all over the place, but 2026 is going to be the year of subtraction. And the winners at the end are going to be the ones who created the most capacity for themselves in order to focus on what matters most. That's going to create that impact. So don't skip this part. Give yourself the time, create the space. If you know someone that has been struggling with this and they're like, man, I am stuck. I have been feeling all of these symptoms that we talked about. Send it to them. Give them this gift to create the space and be able to have the capacity to step into their impact zone. And I always love to hear from you. So if this episode was meaningful to you, if it moved something within you, please like it, please comment, even send me an email. Let me know it made a difference, because that's why I'm here doing it. I want it to make a difference for you. Thank you again for tuning in and sharing your time and your space with me today. I'll see you next time.